Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to fumble! Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time of day you're listening to this. I'm John Thunder Chadrock, head coach of the Back Alley Bandits.
And I'm Steely Dan Brown, head coach of the Bash Street Bullies.
And we are here today to get ready to fumble. We're doing this podcast on behalf of the Surrey Spartans for Spartan Cup II, second year of the Blood Bowl tournament. It's run by Bearded Steve, who we're all very grateful for. Thank you, Bearded Steve.
Yep, thank you, Steve.
And we're just going to talk about, well, Blood Bowl, the Spartans, and who we hope to smash in the league and avoid being smashed by, I suppose. Dan, would you like to just introduce yourself, say how you got into Blood Bowl?
Okay, yeah, I'm Steely Dan. I've been playing Blood Bowl on and off for probably about 8 years, I think now. First started playing down at the Gamers Guild in Red Hill with a little league that Eddie Hopkins used to run.
Mm-hmm.
Again, playing Chaos Pack back then. I seem to be a one-trick pony with them, but hopefully going to be far more successful this time than I was previously.
If you've got one trick and it works, why learn new tricks?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I missed that league. I missed Spartans 1 as well, Spartan Cup 1. I've always been interested in Blood Bowl. I like small, like squad or warband based games with progression and injury to a lesser extent, obviously, but injuries build character. And I think mainly I started playing properly when we were mainlining Blood Bowl 2 on Xbox Live.
Oh, the frantic game is...
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's not the word I was looking
No.
for, but...
Well, it's very well put together. It's very pretty.
It likes ones
I mean, yes.
and skulls.
But no one else does, so someone had to. Yeah, and I managed to jump into Spartans 2, as did you. But
And we did also play our own mini league on
yes.
the build up to this.
Bloody Sunday Night Combat League. That was a 4-person league run by people who missed out on Spartans 1 and needed a Blood Bowl fix. It was quite good. I enjoyed it. Very good. Never had a bad game.
I had a couple, but
Yeah.
less said about them, the better.
I don't know. I could talk about those ones for days, Dan. Yeah, so that was myself, yourself, Hannah, and Doran. And you three are taking your teams into Spartans 2.
That is correct.
Indeed. Well, let's talk about Chaos Pack then. What makes you play Chaos Cat?
Play Chaos Cat.
Chaos Cat.
I've been a fan of Pact, or Renegades as they used to be called, for a number of years, mainly because they have the 3 big guys.
You like big men, do you? The face he's pulling, ladies and gentlemen, says yes.
Well, anyway, the reason is, fucking hell, you just threw me completely then.
Well, I mean, you like the punching ability, and you like the reliability of the Strength 5 guys.
Yeah, and also not being tied down to any particular thing. So I've got the speed play if I want it through the Dark Elf Renegade in there. I've got the fling play through the Goblin. It's just, I think, the most varied team, and it may not always work out, but I'm always going to have fun, even the games where I lose 3-1. No, it was 3-0 last time we played, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought we weren't talking about our games. But I get what you're saying about having the varied game and always having like an option for your strategies. Making it fun is a game, and the game does try hard to make it not fun. So you have to find it where you can get it.
And Chad, you've gone for Goblins this time.
Yeah, I have. After the success, the runaway success of the Wayward Wanderers, Elf Union, I decided that I wanted to try to play a slightly sillier team that wasn't so focused, I think. And the other reason is, like, I played 6 games Elves over probably only about 2 months,
Yeah, it was very quick.
It was quite quick, and I wanted to switch it up a bit. And I miss them dearly.
How you can't miss them yet? The season hasn't started yet.
Well, I've had 2.5 games as goblins. I've got another one scheduled for Wednesday if John Parrish is around for a quick pre-season match with his Lost Boys, which we'll get to later. I just miss Agility 4.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my AG5, so I can't really relate.
Yeah, I do want to point out to everybody that Dan did not have a Dark Elf for the first half of our original league.
I bought him in game 3.
Okay, for the first third.
After I lost my Minotaur.
Yeah, tragic. Gronk 1, R.I.P. Yeah. I miss that, but I'm going to enjoy the goblins when they work. They're going to be super rewarding, and the team as a whole relies somewhat on the jankier plays, the more risky plays, and that's kind of what I'm looking for.
I'm almost surprised Barry didn't go for the goblins with his love of the jank.
Indeed, I think that brings us quite well on to let's talk about the teams. There are two schedules, divisions, for the Spartan Conference, and Barry is top of the list for TSC North, the Spartan Cup North. He is playing the New York Giants, so he is playing a fun janky team.
Yep.
Unsurprisingly, as you say, Barry coming from Guild Ball, where he hunts out the jankiest plays possible in a game that does quite a lot to stop you being able to make truly janky plays.
If there's a way, he will find
it. He finds them. So that's the New York Giants. And then we have, if I can find the schedule.
You've got Andy's Brayherds.
Oh, yeah, of course. Made it to the playoffs last season for the TSC. They're a Chaos Chosen.
Yep.
Favourites of the Chaos Gods, supposedly.
Well,
I said supposedly, all right? And like Nuffle's not an official Chaos God, so maybe they're not. Who knows?
got quite possibly the best named human team on the planet. Dan Sandwich's Some Humans.
Some Humans.
Featuring Steve from accounting.
Yes. I think it's Alan.
Oh, is it Alan from accounting?
Yeah. I think they're all fake alliterations. I think they're all linemen as well.
That could make it fun.
Which makes it extra fun. Having just played a human team, they are ferociously good with their positionals. So if you skip that, and he's bringing them back from season 1 of the Spartan Cup, so they'll have some skill ups and things. I know his first skill up was Hail Mary Pass, so he's all about that jank as well. That should be fun. I'd like to see that in action. What have we got next?
We've got Dyson's Underworld Impalers, Vampires.
Yep, indeed, Vampires. Really quite a scary team with a small downside that most people will. It's like that awkward, slightly unacceptable relative you've got at Christmas gatherings who says things that you don't want to agree with. That's how I view Bloodlust.
I mean, I don't know how much it actually affects people in the real world playing the game, but I know that when we were playing it on the Frantic game, it seemed, I think you lost all of your vampires in one turn because they all bloodlusted and there was no one around.
All of them. I lost 4, and I think another one took out, badly injured one of my thralls. At that point, I turned the console off and stormed out of my flat. And have never played vampires since. So yeah, respect to Dyson for playing them, but as we mentioned earlier, the Frantic game does light ones. I think in having played him in the real world, it did trigger a couple of times, but he's got rerolls for it.
I was about to say, it's not going to trigger any more times than, say, me failing Bonehead, Always Hungry, or Wild Animal.
Yeah, indeed. And it doesn't necessarily have to cause turnovers. It's avoidable. So I think you can play around it. I just hope he remembers Hypnotic Gaze. I want to see a lot of plays with that. I want to see some cool stuff going off.
Yeah, it could be good.
Could be good. You looking for the next team? Because I can't pick it up on my phone, so I'm trusting you.
I can't remember whose team it is, but it's the red, white, and green skins.
The Yeah, what Steely said. They're red, white, and green skins.
Who
an
are
orc
orcs,
team.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. Although, they could be goblins, I suppose. I don't think they are. I'm pretty
I
sure
don't think
orcs.
that. I don't really have much to say about them apart from they're similar enough to humans, but a little bit
Yeah, a little
higher
more
on the armor
fighty.
value.
I mean, at this point, we haven't seen any rosters. I'm going to request them from Steve for our next episode,
That
so
would
we
be
can
handy.
talk about them a little more, and then hopefully we can see how they progress. We'll be a week behind, but I think that'll stop people trying to listen to the podcast. Well, that's a bad idea. I want people to listen to it. So maybe we'll just get current rosters if possible from Steve, but depending on when people report games, it might be hard, which is why I think we'll be a week out of date.
Next is the Rockham Rangers, who I believe are the dwarf team.
That's the one dwarf team in the North Division, played by DJ. I like DJ. He's a dwarf player. He was a dwarf player in Warhammer Fantasy in 9th Age. He's a dwarf through and through. Not technically on height. He's quite a tall bloke, really.
So
He's
a dwarf with gigantism.
Yeah, he's tall for a dwarf, but he's a really great guy. So I'm sure he'll be up for some slightly unexpected manoeuvres.
Next up is the Scary Warp Fires.
Oh yeah, now
Did we work out whether or not they were Skaven or
I think they're Skaven.
Chaos?
I'm okay. Look, we're gonna put a little bet on this. Just gentleman's pride or whatever we are.
Yep.
On
Bragging rights.
Yeah, bragging rights. Gentle hosts guy. Wager on this one. I reckon they're Skaven.
And I think they're the Chaos Chosen.
4 Chaos teams in the league. I think there's only 3, but we'll find out excitingly next week on next week. You hear that? That's not a fumble. Yeah. We'll find out next week on Let's Get Ready to Fumble. Sorry to the coach there for not knowing the species of your team, but you are speaking to a Chaos Marauder and a Goblin, so not the most reliable.
And we also
informed
missed the
sources.
live draft.
Yeah, we were not there for that, sadly. So, but if they are Skaven, are going to be contenders because Skaven are just good. If they're Chaos Chosen, I think they're a new team either way, so they're going to suffer as all Chaos Chosen teams do early on. I think,
yeah.
But later on,
Give it 2-3 weeks, and the key players will start having points, and you want to live in that dream for the AG3 Minotaur to just become the untouchable ball carrier.
#dream, #the dream.
Up next is Rains Park Orcish.
Which are probably Skaven.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
No, they're orcs, and again, good team, strong team. I only recently checked the positionals on them. You can get a lot of punch.
Yeah, those black art blockers, and a troll is.
Yeah, you can get a
something
troll.
to-
You can get, I think it's 4 blitzers. And you can get 2 black orcs. That's 7 very fighty players out of 11. And then you can get a thrower and a catcher and whatever you want. I suppose you might want rerolls maybe, but rerolls are for the week.
I say that I've got 3, so.
You're weak. I mean, I've got 2, so I'm kind of weak as well. But I'm playing goblins.
And finally, quite possibly one of my favourite names for a team, Master Splinter's Youth Club, the Skaven Team.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. I sincerely hope they are a Skaven team with that name, because I suppose they could be a Slan team.
I'm pretty
maybe?
sure I've got it under good authority. They
They
are.
are
though.
Skaven. Yeah. Yeah. Looks like a pretty varied league there. Well, Skaven and Orc being the most prevalent team there, if I'm right about the Scar Warpfires. I think there's going to be lots of interesting games there. DJ's, I think, coming back from season 1, so his dwarf team's going to be pretty built, but similarly, so's Andy's Brayherds. So that's it's going to make for some interesting early games. What I like about Blood Bowl is those early games in a league when you haven't got like a tier 1 team and you're a bit shit as a team, and everybody's like, oh, no one's got sure hands across 22 players on the pitch, and then you have, like we've had before, where 2 of your players take it in turns to not pick the ball up.
Yeah.
Oh, turnover, you'll go. Oh, sorry, my good man, I failed to pick it up as well. Have a turnover.
I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing some of these rookie teams play against some of the seasoned teams because of the difference in team value, the inducements that are going to be held.
I want to see the choice of inducements, especially because people are allowed to pick the special play cards now. They weren't available in Season 1. I need to pick up a couple of... Well, I need to pick up all of them. Mainly Miscellaneous Mayhem, because it's the most Goblin-themed one.
I picked up Team Titans, and I also bought the Chaos Chosen pack until... only afterwards realising that there was only 5 special play cards in it, and the rest were team cards. I have little use for that, being Chaos Pact.
Fair. Oh, well, you've got the special play cards. But yeah, there's going to be some interesting games. And like you say, there's enough new teams there to play off against the experienced teams that we're going to hopefully see some interesting inducement choices. Wizards.
I know that when I played against John Massey as a practice game for the first time against his full-strength dwarf team, and it was with my complete rookie Chaos Pact team, I had a lot of fun because I managed to... The difference in team value was so much that I managed to get Morgenthau as an additional player. So I had 3 big guys on my line of scrimmage with my ogre back for just for one thing, to throw that goblin down the line.
Yeah.
And I nearly pulled off a 1-turn touchdown.
I have to say, Morgenthau are a really spicy player. Like, yeah, they're expensive, but you look at all the shit you get. Like
430k.
Yeah, but aren't they like a move 5, strength 6, agi 3, AV?
I don't know if he's AG 3, but he's AV 10. And doesn't have Bonehead.
He doesn't Bonehead. Like, I think for what you're paying, you're getting an awful lot of ogre.
You're getting the almighty ogre.
Yeah, indeed. I think like. Yeah, he's nearly 500,000, but there's a lot that thing can do on the pitch.
I mean, I still lost that game 2-1, but Morgenthau stayed on the thing, and I was a rookie thing who couldn't catch a pass.
Yeah, well, been there. Can't make a pass at the moment because it's stunty. Let's move on to the real division. Sorry, DSC North. I'm only saying that because it's got me in it. Like, not because I'm going to win it, but... So yeah, we'll just talk about our teams quickly. I've got goblins, just the 1 troll, which I've been heavily advised against from all sources. But
yeah, I swear the key advice, not generally for a goblin team, was either 2 trolls or no trolls. You've gone candle to the wind, and
as have some of our writing utensils for notes. Never mind, we've made the notes already. It's fine. Yeah, no, I have.
You're doing it your way.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I plan to get a second troll with inducements against other teams, if I'm honest. So
not just any trolls. Troll.
Yeah.
The troll.
Hopefully, I'm gonna get enough to get Ripper. So who's like the troll version of Morgenthau. He's not quite as good because he's a troll, but he's not always hungry and he's not really stupid.
And that top hat is pretty special.
Yeah, indeed. And he's also got strength 6. So that's going to be nice. Yeah, but I've also got all of the special weapons I could and all of the special players because they're more fun. And I think the Doom Diver and the Pogo are going to be really necessary to make the team slightly functional. Not that they've... Oh, well, the Doom Diver's done all right. The Pogo has reliably failed dodge rolls on the first time he's been required to make them. And then failed the re-roll inbuilt with dodge again. As Doran has noted, I'm really good at 1 in 36 chances as long as I need to get 2 1s in a row. So yeah, Pogo has not quite performed as wanted yet, but we'll work on it. So what's your team looking like?
Well, I've got the 3 big guys, Minotaur, Ogre, Troll.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone for the Dark Elf, who's got a couple of inducements and
inducements.
Oh, advancements. Sorry.
Yeah. Tom Shady, the Agi 5 dodge Dark Elf, who I hope you're painting a target on the back of his head.
He is actually painted now and not just glossy and white.
Okay.
And my secret star player, Terrell owns the Goblin.
Oh, yeah, secret.
Look, he's yay high. Most teams look over him and then realise he's in the end zone.
Well, I mean,
with or without the ball.
That's your plan. We'll see how it goes off.
And then the rest are linemen.
Yeah.
Base linemen, nothing.
Couple of people with...
No one with...
No,
they've got points, but they haven't got an
It's
advancement
Dawn who's
yet.
got the extra arms on his guys with the mutations,
My
isn't it?
goblin's got extra arms
Extra arms.
to help him pick up and catch.
Yeah, do things with the ball. Cool. Well, let's go through the other teams. You've already mentioned John Massey, the Warhogs.
Returning champs.
Returning champ. Who's tentative about your challenge if you win the Spoon Bowl?
Yeah.
We'll get into that later. But yeah, they're obviously the team to beat, as it were, having been the return. Well, they are still the returning champions. I don't know what its team value is, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to, if not hire Ripper, hire both of the trolls I can get. So a mercenary troll to fill in the slot of my team.
Or
and
go
Ripper.
for the armoured goblin.
I'll go for my armoured goblin plan. We'll see. But yeah, aggressive, grindy, very dwarfy. So I think...
Very little pass unless it's a last-ditch attempt to get a score just
I think,
before the end of the half.
yeah, the tip to win that is slow down the cage with just a screen and don't get involved in a fight. He's got a death roller and he's quite good at using it, but again, having been in a league with 4 big guys and a death roller amongst you 3.
Yeah. 4 big guys and a death
roller. Just don't stand next to it.
Feed him one person.
I won't even do that.
So
make him use splits.
All that.
Well, we'll see how that works out without agility 4. But I think he's obviously going to be, especially to begin with, the big dog in the division. But we'll see where it goes. Then we've got
Hannah's dwarf team, the Block and Rollers.
Yep, fantastically named.
Also now have a death roller.
Yes, well, they've had a death roller for a while, but again, I think she's slightly more football than John.
She does like to make passes.
Yeah, like when they'll get touchdowns if they go off. I think that's a good skill. John might do this. I've never actually played him, so I'm only speaking from hearsay, I suppose. But yeah, she quite likes punching things too.
I guess against me, he didn't really need to. I played him when I tried out an Elvish Union team, bought the star player, did this whole thing, had him 2 squares from the end zone. I thought I was just out of blitz range from one of his dwarves. Star player, I think about 300,000 points. Standing there right on the edge. Well, no, 1 square in from the edge. He manages to, with a fair few go for it, move up some support and then blitz, and killed my star player dead out in his first activation. After that, the fight was gone because I was now just a base elf team.
That's the problem with star players. Blood Bowl does like to level the playing field or tilt it occasionally.
Yeah.
But hey, that's why we play the game.
Anyway, back to Hannah's dwarf team.
Yeah, no, I think she's a good player, very sound, very solid, just like dwarves. And I think she picked up, playing you and Doran, she got the idea of how to play against other bashy teams, playing me as the elves. She got some pretty high-end elf runaway tactics. So she's got experience. While not as much experience as John Massey, she's got, I think, equal breadth of experience.
She definitely comes along every time I've played her. The scores may not have gone her way when we played the second time, but it was definitely a challenge the whole way through. Just because her dice abandoned her didn't mean that she couldn't play.
No. Well, yeah, the dwarves are quite forgiving in that, and then you can control the field again. But she didn't panic. She doesn't panic.
Doesn't quit.
The only one to manage not to lose a game to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep saying this kind of stuff because I'm going to need to remember the good times when I go 0 for 9 with my games in this league. But yeah, she knows what she's doing.
After that, we've got, as previously mentioned, John Parrish's Lost Boys.
Oh yes, the Lizard Man team. I'm pretty confident he's going full Saurus, Croxigor, punch people to death.
Maybe 2 rerolls if he can afford that.
Yeah, if he can. I think we worked it out, didn't we? And he can get 2 rerolls if he gets that minimum skinks. Having seen how he plays Guild Ball, I think he was going to bring across the same attitude and just be like, my Saurus are better than your guys, so I'm going to keep punching your guys until my guys are left standing. Might score a goal. Sorry, touchdown. I know technical terms. I think I want to see a lot of his games just because I enjoy watching John play.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see that.
I've got an Elvish team, the Calidor Croydonians.
Indeed, I believe they're Elvish Union.
I believe so.
Great team. Can't say bad thing about them apart from Armour 7 is bad. But
if you've got enough dodges and things like that,
AG4 and their blitzers are beautiful. Because block and sidestep, you just need to pick up dodge.
Yeah, you can't if you can't touch them apart from with a 6, that armor value doesn't really become relevant.
And whenever you're pushing them, they can reposition to their advantage, which makes them really dangerous scoring threats.
Yeah, if you're going to go to take them down, make sure you take them down. Otherwise, you're giving them a free move.
Guy wrestle might help.
Yeah. Next, we've got the Dark Elvish team, the South London Blades.
South London Blades.
It's Landan.
Landan. Yes, we had. That was clarified, wasn't it, by Johnny? My most recent practice game with my Goblins was against Johnny. Great guy. Knows what he's talking about. He used to play Blood Bowl a lot. I think he's had a bit of a break and he was just wanted a game to get back into the rules. Dark Elves are a fantastic team. I love them. The only reason I'm not playing them is because I don't own a team in real life. Although he then showed me a very nice, very, very spicy looking Dark Elf custom team. It was €80, which is a bit above my willingness to pay right now, but it was very nice. It looked really nice. So if you
was it the Dark Obsidian ones?
Maybe, I don't know. But I'm excited to see the models if he's bought them. I think he has. I'm pretty sure he has. And I'm excited to see him play because I like Dark Elf teams. I think it's a bold choice.
Strong choice.
Strong choice, absolutely. Tier 1, but...
No, they're not. They're the only elf...
No,
them and Elvish Union are the two that are...
High Elves are...
Oh no, it's Dark Elf and Wood Elves are the only elves that are in the Tier 1.
Tier 1, yeah. And I think that the Dark Elves are slightly more difficult to play than...
Difficult to play well.
Yeah, fair enough. And you can play any team. You're quite right. Just put them on the field. You're done. Forget to move your turn counter several times. Just turn over. You're still playing the game. So I'll be interested to see. I'd like to see some of this dump off plays. We'll see.
Next, we've got Doran's returning team from our Bash League, the Hana Brancas.
Indeed. How now being the place of origin. It's all one word. Clarified as well. I think I haven't asked him. Since we discussed it before. I don't know if he's kept his Minotaur Juggernaut.
Oh, what, Bacon?
Yeah, I hope he's kept Bacon. I think he dropped one of his other linemen with a skill up instead of dropping Bacon. I hope he has, because I think...
Juggernaut is insane.
Especially because you always be blitzing on a Minotaur.
Always be blitzing and blocking.
Yep. Well, especially blitzing with Juggernaut, because then you kind of have pseudo block. And he's got a couple of goes with extra arms, so he can play with the ball, or at least pick it up. And in my last game against him, he definitely was doing the football. He tried a really nice and a fairly safe pass with a handoff to go for a touchdown from only quite shallow into my half. So it would have been really nice. Would have turned around. He had to make one dodge roll at the beginning and he failed it with a reroll, which was sad. It was a 3-up as well. It wasn't like a hard one. So that was sad. But the fact that he went for it, because he knew that I was just going to stall him until the end of the half. So he had to try to make a breakout play. And the fact that he's got these extra arm players, he could make those. So.
And also every other guy apart from his... what are they called? They're not Chaos Warriors, are they?
They are Chaos Warriors, because he's playing Chaos Chosen, but he's modelled them, he's chopped their heads off and put Bestigor heads on. So they don't have horns, even though they have horns.
And the rest of his team does have horns.
Yeah, literally everybody else in the team has horns. So that's quite cool.
The mutations available in any Chaos team is always going to be a lot of fun.
I think he's got slightly more functional stuff. I think he's got Chaos Warrior with block. He might have one with Mighty Blow to begin with initially.
Claw.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember. I know he's got alignment with Claw. Yeah. But I think he got stat busted. I think so. He might have changed that. I'm not sure.
And finally, Steve, surprise addition to the team is the new Phoenix Patriots, instantly disliked by me because of the American football reference there.
Indeed. Well, I mean, wasn't the best Street Bullies originally named the Philadelphia Flyers?
They are, but that's based off of the ice hockey team.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
and
very true.
it's the Philadelphia Flyers, and they were nicknamed the Broad Street Bullies.
So you still kind of are.
Yeah, it's in honour of the team.
Okay. Yeah, he's Elvis Union as well.
Yes.
And he's they're not a returning team. He changed from his Humans last season, so they're fresh. But again, I think they're a very nice starting team.
Yeah, strong elf.
Catchers especially, Catch and Nerves of Steel.
It's just pricey linemen. Well, everything's pricey in an elf team.
They're only 60,000. They're not as pricey as people think because they've only got armor 7.
No, but in comparison to other
I think the average lineman costs 50.
Yeah, so you're still spiking above average.
Yeah, but for agility 4,
you're not really gonna have. It's if you lose a player, they're expensive to replace, as opposed to a goblin team where you're gonna have, or another fling team, but you've got a wealth of just substitutes you can bring on because they're a dime a dozen.
But the thing is, with the more expensive linemen, so for dwarves and elves, versus being a goblin team, like I've got a full roster. I'm on 16 players, but that means I'm not going to get mercenaries for a long time. Whereas if an elf team goes into a game and they're a player down, they can say, well, I'll take a mercenary. And they're not losing too much. And then they're almost gaining in that they've got a player they really don't care about who can take the riskier plays or be fodder for the bigger stuff. So you're right. It means you can be like points down. But I think you can still play that to your advantage. Maybe.
And that rounds out the league available.
Indeed. So
sorry about that.
That's all right. We'll just die quietly. Exciting games.
All right, let's get the actual schedule up for.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I mean, as I said, I want to see everything that John Parrish plays if I can. I'm looking forward to some of the Skaven plays. I want to see Barry's Ogres play. I think the dwarf on dwarf fight could be quite fun. Either it's going to be quite boring and they're going to be careful and grindy and they're not going to take too many risks.
Yeah, that could be a 1-0 finish. Or
or a 1-1 draw or a 0-0 draw. I think it's either going to be a slow, low-scoring game or a really action-packed brawl. And I want it to be the action-packed brawl. Mostly because then if one of them makes it to the playoffs and I mysteriously do, hopefully some of their team will be dead and I won't have to deal with it.
Alright, so for the North, the fixtures coming up, and then we'll pick one that we're most excited to
let's
watch.
just talk about the first week.
That's what I said.
Yeah, sorry.
Pick out the North, pick a couple of games that we're excited to hear about or watch if we're lucky to be present. Alright, so you've got...
Blessed by Nuffle to be present at these games.
So week 1 in the North is the New Zork Giants versus the Red, White and Greenskins. The Brayherds versus the Rockham Rangers. Some Humans versus the Scary Warpfires. The Underworld Impalers versus the Rains Park Orcish. And Master Splinters Youth Club are on a bye.
I think they're playing the New Phoenix Patriots because for each division there's a bye. So people will be playing.
That is correct. It's an optional game if people want to play.
Yeah, so
and risk their players.
Risk their players, like as if I care about mine. The exciting game there, I think, if I had to pick one to watch, I'd want to watch Barry's game because it's his first game with the Ogres, first game of the league, and he'll be trying. He won't know what works yet, so he'll be trying everything. I think that's going to be interesting to watch.
I'm thinking there, be prepared for lots of kobolds being thrown at stronger players and hoping that they get taken out.
He's quite a football person though, Barry, so maybe he'll be chucking a couple
Turn
downfield.
1 touchdowns and...
Yeah, or chucking a couple downfield so that he's got people there that he can just chuck a long pass to. That kind of thing.
The one I'm most excited about seeing is actually the Underworld Impalers, to see how if Dyson can hit the ground running with his vampires.
They're against an Orc team as well.
Yes, they are. The Rains Park Orcish.
Yeah, which is going to be
a tough opposition.
Yeah, I think because they've got the Black Orcs, which can stand up to the vampires.
But there's only 2 of them.
Yeah, and the vampires, even though they don't block, they're fast, they're agile. He's got 5 rerolls, So I think he's going to be able to pull some tricks, like especially if he gets like a blitz or a quick snap or something. There are things he's going to be able to do. So, like you say, that'd be good to see if he hits the ground running. This is not to say the other games are not interesting.
I was literally just about to say that.
But if we only got to watch one, those would be the one we'd watch.
They would be our pick of the weeks.
Pick of the week for the competition for King in the North.
And now for the Southern Fairy League.
Yeah, indeed.
You got the defending champs Warhogs versus the Calidor Croydonians. So arch rivals elves versus dwarves.
Indeed, but with I think 300,000 of inducements approximately going to the elves.
So you could get some super duper elf plays there, or cards galore.
Yeah, that's my plan. If I'm not allowed to get players where I don't have the models at that point, cards.
Next dwarf team, the Block and Rollers versus the Back Alley Bandits.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Veteran dwarf versus...
I've played Hannah before, and like we said, she's pretty versatile. She knows what she's doing. She doesn't play that many games. Like, she plays SBG, but I think she's only recently really got into playing them. Doesn't seem to be slowing her down. If I manage a draw, honestly, if I manage to go this entire league with just getting draws, I'll be happy.
Yeah, that would be...
I am obviously going to aim for wins because I have bad strategic planning.
Next up was the Lost Boys versus the South Landan Blades.
Mm-hmm. You just enjoy doing that, don't you?
I do. Landan. So it's interesting to see all those bashy lizard men versus...
Indeed, against the Dark Elves. What's the last one is you and Doran?
Me versus the Hannah Broadcast.
Yeah, so that's happened before twice. What's the history?
The first time we faced off was a 1-1 draw,
Mm-hmm.
and the second time we faced off, it was it appeared that all Doran's dice completely abandoned him, and it was a 2 or 3-0 comfortable victory.
Yeah, this is wow. I think in Blood Bowl, more than any game, if your dice give up on you, then that can feel like that's it.
I mean, it wasn't even close. He was maybe getting a block off before a turnover, or sometimes not even that.
Yeah.
He was not able to get a thing. I was getting very lucky with my armor break, so I was maybe not KOing or injuring his players, but I was stunning his players almost every time with the key blocks I was going for.
Yeah, and so this is his chance to equalise the score. Grudge match.
Never going to happen.
You heard it here first, folks. What do you think? Let's do it objectively. Let's not try to call our games exciting. Which game would you like to see most if you were an objective observer?
I think it's going to have to be the Dark Elves versus the Lost Boys Lizardmen.
100% agree.
I'm majorly hyped for that one.
They're both new teams, so they're going to be fresh out. No skill ups, very few skills, and
a Croxagore and 4 Saurus.
6 Saurus.
6 Saurus. Oh,
6. Which is good. I'll be honest, it's a good thing those linemen have armor 8, but Johnny's he's got experience. He knows what he's doing. John hasn't played before, I don't think. I think he's having his first game on Wednesday.
Possibly against you.
But I think he's just going to go for what he wants to do and see if it happens. And that's going to be punching the Dark Elves, who won't be able to punch back, really. So I think that's going to be a fun game. I'm going to try to tune in for that one, if possible.
Yeah.
Cool. So strats and dreams. What's your strategy for our division? And then the spoon or playoffs.
Well, I think against the bash teams, it's going to be either outbash them if I've, but depending upon injuries, it will be heavily reliant on my Minotaur to cruise through, break through any lines, limit the amount of blitzes they can get off against, or number of blocks they can get off against me, but maximise the amount I can against them, and also rely heavily on my Dark Elf being able to move the ball about the field. Maybe some janky plays with my Goblin.
That Dark Elf again is Tom Shady, the Agility 5 Dodge Elf that we're all going to be gunning for.
You can try.
I
with
am.
that I may have to. I really don't want to, but if he gets another skill up, it's almost going to be foolish not to get block
Wrestle.
or wrestle.
Because then you can dislodge the ball from block carriers.
Yeah.
The strats. Name of the section, Strats from Dreams. Like the dream being that Tom Shady gets to, 36 SPP?
I think he's currently at 5 of that phase 6.
Well, we'll just have to get him killed.
What about your strategies?
Good
luck,
hope
have
my
fun.
troll doesn't eat my Doom Diver. Hope my Pogoer doesn't kill himself on his pogo stick, as he's done every single game. Literally, fail a dodge roll, break the armor, injure himself off the turn 2 or 3, like every time.
That's brutal.
Except against Dyson, where he didn't do it till like turn 7 because I didn't tell him to do anything
Yeah.
till turn 7, second half. Yeah, like just basically use the secret weapons as effectively as I can. Try to get some takeouts and crowd surfs early on, and if it's all going pear-shaped, resort to some stunty jank.
Yeah, stunty jank.
I really like stunty as a rule.
So what are your goals for league position or?
I want to hit bottom of the playoffs. I want to make it to the playoffs due to some freak of chance. And then that'll be it, really. I'd like to win, obviously, but
Yeah.
I'm going to be
Realistic.
Yeah. If I win this league as Goblins, then yeah. But I won't ever let anyone live it down.
No.
I would like to place better in our division than Barry does in his, so I'm the best stunty team in league.
Ooh, it's a good
That, I think, is my actual goal.
grudge match.
I'm happy to do it. End of season grudge match, stunty on stunty.
I'd love it if you guys had your bye week at the same.
It
Oh
would've
no,
been
you've
great.
got
I'm against
DJs.
the only other dwarf team in the league. And after asking Steve if he would kindly change it, he said no. So I'm playing 3 dwarf teams. But DJ's got it the toughest because by then I'll have a skill up or a massive team deficiency, so I can buy lots of mercenaries with skill ups.
Yeah.
So he's actually got the hardest game against me because it's in like week 8. But yeah, I'd like to challenge Barry at the end of the season to a stunty off to see who wins the Stunty Cup, because the real competition. But yeah, I'd just like to place above him in the divisions.
Yeah, I think my goals would be to either fail miserably, make it all the way to the Spoon Bowl, lose in the Spoon Bowl, so effectively win the Spoon Bowl, and then face off against the whoever wins the actual Spartan Cup and claim victory as a whole by winning that match.
This is what we were referring to earlier, because in the Facebook banter, which has primarily been from the Southern Division, Northern Division being very gentlemanly and well behaved, and not threatening each other's players regularly. Yeah, John Massey's not so happy with that. The challenge to beat the overall champion and take the title in the final charity match of the game. But I mean, he may not make it, so he may not get a choice in the matter.
I'm actually holding out hope that he makes it all, goes down into the Spoon Bowl. He'll be happy that we've made this suggestion when he's.
Yeah, that's it. There's your strat, John. So if you do somehow not make it into the playoffs, just fold every game in the in the Spoon Bowl and challenge the champions. There you go. You can claim the title that way. It's two ways to win.
Either way, I want to be in the Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah, you don't care what.
I don't care what route I take. I'm going Cup Winners' Cup.
Sweet. Well, one of them will be good. So yeah, let's. We did ask for questions as well, didn't we? I think we've come to the end of what we're going to talk about this week.
Yeah, I think that's most of our content covered, apart from the questions.
Yeah, well, I better get the questions out. I was just trying to think on the rewritten penciled in note. Oh, hang on. Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, one thing we will be doing differently between this podcast and future ones is we will be reviewing our matches that we've had, talking about particular high points, extreme lows.
Yeah, particularly impressive plays. We'll look at exciting games as well that have been played. between other people. So if we have been able to watch any, we'll have like a post-game commentary on it. So the questions.
Ooh.
John Parrish, straight in with 2. Honestly, about 4 minutes after I put the post up. Question 1. How lost are the Lost Boys? If we have a graph with like the x-axis being distance lost and y-axis being time in league, we're going to see a correlation there. So the longer they're in the league, the less lost they'll become, is my prediction. But it could go the other way.
I think it depends on how well they hit the ground running. If they lose their first game, they're incredibly lost.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be tough. Get like Croxigore and a Saurus injured and like stab busted.
That would be brutal.
Agility 1 Croxigore, not that they care. Strength 4 Croxigore, that'd be upsetting. He's also asked, if you were a biscuit, what biscuit would you be?
Due to the colour of my beard, probably a ginger nut. I'm also quite dry, so yeah, ginger nut.
Fair enough. Wait.
What about you?
I'm going with custard cream. We had a brief discussion about this before. I wasn't really satisfied with that answer, but it's the only one I've got. So I'm kind of like a bourbon, but slightly different.
You're very vanilla.
Sure. Yeah. There you go, John. Then we've got Matt Doran. Who do you think your teams will struggle into, and who's your pick for top dog in each conference? Everyone? I'm going to go with there. I'll struggle into everyone, because there's not like another... Like, the B-rate teams, or sorry, the tier 2 teams in our league are like the Pro Elves, and even the new ones.
Okay, I'm tier 2.
Yeah, but you're returning. So you've got advantages there. But the newer tier 2 teams are the Pro Elves, and they have the advantage of being really good at football already, but also being strength 3. So they don't actually have to be good at fighting to beat me. So my options are more limited there. Those are the games I'm going to struggle in, I think, more than the others. Because at least with Dwarves, I might be able to outpace them or out-football. Against you guys, again, I might be able to out-football with some janky tactics.
Possibly.
The Lizard Men, I don't know. Honestly, I've never...
They're an unknown quantity. I've never faced them, never played with them.
In my mind, they're kind of like a Goblin team with 6 Black Orcs. And that scares me.
I can see why.
Yeah. What about you? Any teams you think you're struggling to?
If our previous league is anything to go by, Elves.
Yeah, they're pretty good, aren't they?
They can be.
But you've got Tom Shady now. And you didn't have him for
the first one.
The first one.
Which was the closer game when both of the teams were more balanced.
Yeah.
When we specialised, the gap in the change different in style to play became noticeable.
Well, I think we had the longest time between our games. Like, we played each other first.
We played ourselves week 1 and week 6.
Yeah, week 6. So we had the longest time. So we had like that really close game at the beginning, and then at the end when I'd gone on my like undefeated streak. Not quite a winning streak, thanks to Hannah. Dwarves, stupid things.
Undefeated though.
Undefeated is important. Semi-retired the team for now. Yeah, so when I came back with all of that SPP, like, and you'd had a much tougher time getting your SPP.
My first round was awful.
I had one catcher who got, I think, more touchdowns than your than your team did. So that just
says it all, really.
Yeah, really. Although she got those touchdowns in the last 2 games, because my other catcher was my favourite for a long time. Who's our pick for top dog in each conference?
I'm putting it out there. I'm saying some humans league in the north.
Ooh. Who will be king in the north? Oh, there's it's difficult because I like the.
It could be biased just because of.
Yeah, there's that, but the Brayherds are like the big competitor, so they might be top seed because of team value and stuff. But because of the nature of Chaos Chosen as a team, I think that holds them back somewhat, so that like the Skaven can play round that.
Yeah.
And like we've got enough skills, we're fast enough, we can get the touchdowns, we don't need to be skilled up, we're just good. So I'm going with Master Splinter's Youth Club.
Ooh.
Yeah, unknown pick. The 100-1 pick.
I'm just liking the versatility of the humans.
Oh yeah.
You can adapt them to play however you want. You know, absolutely. You can. I doubt he will, but if he had enough inducement or whatever, he can enlist an ogre on a game where he may need that extra bit of strength. You've got every wealth of skill available to.
But if he's gone all lineman, then some of that versatility is cut back.
Only in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, till they get more.
Till you
skills.
develop
Some
it.
of them have still got skills because they are a returning team.
Yes.
Member, so he might still have that versatility. Fair enough. Our league, I think it is John Massey.
Yeah.
Because he was returning team, won Spartan 1. He's got the most games under him, so the most experience and stuff with all of the SPP and the skill bonuses. And Wolves are a very solid team. That's not to say other people can't and won't beat him. I think if we had to pick a favourite, though.
Having played him 2 or 3 times previously and not won a single one of those games or even a draw, I think I'm inclined to agree.
I think, though, what is notable here is you always... Well, you played the Elf Union team, you said, but you're not that experienced with them.
No.
You always play bashy teams, and with the 3 Elf teams in our league, that might cause an upset with the estimates there. We don't really have bookies, but if we did, then they might have some outside bets on the Elf teams there. Just because they can pull off those plays, the more risky ones, in less risky circumstances. So there you go, Matt. That's what we think. John Massey. Who could be the surprise team in each division? North, I think it would be Barry, New York Giants. And in the South, it'll be me. Because if I start winning games, to be honest, if I start winning games and get the SPP off it, 2 touchdowns a time, and with an MVP and maybe a pass, I'm looking at getting the Goblins in a good place. So
you say that you're literally just picking the lowest tiered teams that just because if they could win, they'd be the most surprising.
Yeah, well, that's what he asked.
What did he say again?
Who could be the surprise team in each division?
Could be. Yeah, I was sort of thinking about. Actually, never mind. Don't worry.
Okay, I mean, if John Parrish comes out and he's gone all skinks, no Croxigore, surprise team right there. As I said, we can't see the rosters. So we might have an update on that next time when we've seen the starting rosters. Might have a more informed choice, but I think based purely off teams, I have to go with the tier 3s, just because they're because they're the only tier 3s in each of the divisions.
Yeah.
So and that would be different if someone was playing like Kemri, perhaps, or one of or Norse. Although I think they're a tier 1 team, but they can, if they take a couple of knocks early on, really suffer.
Yeah.
So I think that's a safe bet, and I'm justified it. So shove that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yep.
What about you? Are you going to differ with me after calling me out on that?
Let's have a Butchers.
Talk amongst yourselves.
No, you know what? After all that protesting, I think I'm inclined to agree.
But it's just the nature of the lineups, because there are a lot of very good teams. We've not really got any tier 2.5 teams, apart from Vampires, which I think occasionally fall into that tier, who don't have a low enough win rate to be tier 3, but they're not quite got the same win rate as the others. And I think Camry and is it Necromantic Undead? And Underworld
Denizens.
Underworld Denizens. I think they're the ones that are in that 2.5 section that might have had it. And because Dyson's only got the 3 vampires in his starting lineup.
Oh, really?
I think, don't quote me until next week or next episode when we've got the rosters in front of us. So he's going to be failing 1 every other turn on the odds for the Bloodlust. He's got the 5 rerolls. You can mitigate Bloodlust anyway without a reroll. Yeah, sure, it damages a thrall, but I think he's got a spare thrall. If not, he can pick one up fairly cheap because, again, they're 40 or 50.
I think all it does is it knocks them prone, doesn't it?
No, you roll. It's an auto armor break. But if you injure them, they only ever get badly hurt. So they can go off the pitch. They can be KO'd. The best case scenario is they're stunned. So it is quite bad, but it is mitigatable.
Okay, I misunderstood the rule. I always thought it was just they got knocked prone.
Yeah, I think it used to be. But having played the practice match with him, I learned a lot about the bloodlust.
Okay.
So it seems quite bad, but remembering you're injuring like one of the shit players on your team who wasn't going to be doing that much anyway.
And at least if you do fail, your vampire keeps his tackle zone.
Yeah, absolutely. If he's on the pitch, the important thing to note that I learned about bloodlust was if a vampire fails his bloodlust roll, has the ball, gets to the end zone, he will then drop the ball and leave the pitch without touching down.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that is bad. That's when the bloodlust failure is bad. But if you need to blitz, like if you say blitz this guy because he's going to score next time, I've got strength 4, I can do it by myself with 2 dice. If he's got block and you roll a 1 then, you still need to take down that ball carrier. So you do it and you have your vampire sent off because otherwise they're scoring a touchdown. I do know these words, damn it. Otherwise they're scoring a touchdown. So yeah, he gets sent off and it's bad, but it's not as bad as running for the end zone and then having a vampire walk off the pitch without scoring that touchdown.
Yeah.
So I think, if this isn't anything against Dyson, but if he does win with vampires, I'll still be impressed. I'll still be surprised. But that's because there are a lot of other good teams in his division. So yeah, maybe the Underworld Impalers are a surprise team as well on that basis. Because if they do win it, I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
Then next question, I believe, is from Andy Hoff. I say I believe because I don't have the internet in the studio down here, so just reading off screenshots on my phone. Who do you think, it is from Andy Hoff, who do you think is the favourite to win the whole thing, and who is fave for the wooden spoon? I am... whole thing. I mean, like, again... If you were seeding, John Massey.
Oh, I'd have to go either him or Andy's Brayherds.
Oh, the Brayherds.
Because they're a strong returning team. They've done well in their league.
I don't think, and this is nothing against Andy, I don't think they're any more likely to win it than you or Doran, necessarily. I think he's got more skill ups than you. But
and he's also got more experience playing as his team. Can mean a lot.
Perhaps, but I wouldn't put him down as a favourite to win. His division, perhaps, but not the whole thing. Because I think they're going to struggle into Dwarves. And so if Massey, Baker and DJ all make the playoffs with Andy, it's going to be a tough time for him.
Yeah, that would be a bit of a...
And all those teams have a good chance. They're returning teams, they're dwarf teams, they're survivable, and they can if they're in a bad place, as long as they can at least line up or shield the ball.
That's where you'd want an elf team if you're against 4 dwarves.
Yeah, absolutely. Pity I didn't bring elves. So there we go. I think overall seed 1 would be John Massey. Not that definitely means we think he's 100% going to win.
Wooden spoon.
Wooden spoon.
Or spoon bowl.
Not me. I think if I get into the spoon bowl, I will manage to avoid getting the spoon. We'll see what I'm saying in 9 games' time.
I'm giving it 5 before you've accepted the fact that you're going to end up in the spoon bowl.
Oh no, I'll probably end up in the spoon bowl, but as long as I think Barry's going to end up in the spoon bowl as well. So as long as I come higher him further from the spoon, that's fine.
And then win the whole thing. As in, face off against the winner of the actual Spartan Cup to claim all the glory.
I don't think that.
If that's even going to happen.
Fave for wooden spoon. You.
Me.
Not out of skill, but I think if you come too close to winning your games, you'll just turn around and go, I don't need the MVP. Because if you get in the spoon bowl, you're going to want bomb it. So I'm going to say you.
So if my season turns south, starts going south, I'm going to throw everything.
No, the season, no. But if you don't get in the playoffs, if you're in the spoon bowl, you're going to play the game, maybe take some riskier plays, be a little more fun because you don't mind going down to the bottom and winning the spoon because that's your goal. I think that's the tactical pick for spoon. Not because I think you are going to be the worst or unluckiest player in our league, but if you're in the spoon bowl, you're going to want to win it, in inverted commas.
Yeah.
So.
Play it to lose it.
There you go. What would you say?
I was actually going to say me for the Spoon Bowl. I was expecting you to say one of the Fling teams, and I was going to go, but not so fast.
Nah, Barry and I are, I think, will win just enough to avoid the spoon, I think. Andy Hoff says, also, who do you think will lead the casualty and touchdown list in each league?
It's going to be the Elves. One of the Elf teams is going to be leading touchdowns.
None of the Elf teams are returning, so I don't have a favourite pick for them. I'm going to go Dark Elves.
So you're going the South London.
South London Blades, leading the way on touchdowns. Casualty, that's tough. Because there's the 2 Orc teams, there's 3 Dwarf teams, there's 3 Chaos teams.
Or 4.
3 or 4 Chaos teams. So there's a lot of competition for the the Golden Fist, or the Punch Cup. I know John Massey likes to play aggressive, but with 3 Elf teams and me in this league, I don't think he's going to be getting the fights in like half his games that he'll need to get those kills. So I think it's going to be someone in the north. So Andy, possibly not so much DJ, because I think again he'll prefer his football plays, but he might grind it out. So Andy or possibly Barry.
I was thinking Barry because of the she ended up to 6 ogres, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he will have gone 6 ogres. And he, and I think he could. He's the outsider for me for the Golden Fist.
I mean, if taking out your own players counted, I'd potentially put you up there.
Absolutely, I will definitely have a KDA ratio that's or a KDS ratio where S stands for self kills or suicides. Top of the league will be my my Pogoer.
What, for taking itself out?
Yeah, with 100% record of killing itself in every game. We've got John Massey, potential exciting matches. Covered that. Was a segment. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It will be a weekly. I keep saying that, but an episodic segment. So we'll be talking about those ones. So hopefully we'll watch those so we can report on them. And if you do, guys, do write up your reports, or you think you had a particularly good game, feel free to send them to us. We'll be happy to
give it some sort of coverage.
Exactly. And if you record it, absolutely, we're happy to commentate on that as well if you send us the video. All we would ask is that if you do that, make sure that the dice results when you roll them are clear, or at least save them out loud on when you're taking them on camera, so when we commentate we know what you're doing and we can let everybody else know. Barry Gingell, can't wait to listen. Soon, Barry, soon.
Also, not a question.
Bearded Steve, I'm just reading out all the comments because we don't really have that many more questions. This sounds like an epic idea. This is an epic idea?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, all right. We'll try to make it epic.
Right now we're here. We've got to make it up here. Again.
All right, so the first... Great visual aid there, Steely. So the first boundary was we're about 3 foot off the floor, and we're aiming for about 5.5 on the epic scale. I don't know how good that is because I don't know where the epic scale ends or starts.
It starts off pretty epic and then ends epic.
No. John Massey, actual question. How long before the first death? First game.
I'm inclined to agree. First game. I'm giving it by about halfway through the first half.
No.
Of one of the games.
No, pick a turn. Don't say by the first.
All right. Turn 5.
It'll happen
in one of our games.
Turn 5 in one
bottom of turn.
Bottom of turn 5. I'm going turn 1.
You're going
at some point
top?
In someone's turn 1. No, I'm not going that far. Someone's turn 1 across the 18 games. 18? No, 9. Yeah, 18 games we're playing.
Oh yeah, including the friendly.
Yeah. There'll be someone who dies in turn 1. So we'll find out. Our next exciting feedback on that. And I think that is all of the questions. Let me just have a look here. Yes, so that's everything from us. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed listening.
Thank you very much for listening. I've been Steely Dan.
And I'm still John Thunder Chadrock. And we hope you have a good time getting ready to fumble.
Y'all ready for this?